What in up world? You are in tune to another marvelous talk moment with your boy Big G. What's up, G man? How you doing, man?
Down trying to get to this thing, man. It's a lot going on over the next 30 days, man. So I'm counting down. But
It
man,
is
I'm excited to talk some She-Hulk, man. So I'm ready. Let's go.
definitely, and we got a new crew member with us tonight, Elijah. What's popping, Elijah? How you doing?
How's it going, everybody? I am glad to be a part of my first episode of the Marvelous Talk podcast. I can't wait to get into some topics today. I have a lot to get off my chest here.
Hey man, I think we all do. But man, we don't. Max is not with us tonight. Of course, Max will be back with us soon. But if you liked it, what you're seeing in the content that you're getting, make sure that you like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe on YouTube and Twitch, so that when we do go live, you'll definitely get those notifications. Man, listen, it's done already started, man. And G, I told you this. I've told you this. I told you this. I said that She-Hulk was gonna be a bridge series. It was definitely gonna be a bridge series that tied in a lot of people. I said She-Hulk was gonna tie in a lot of people, a lot of things. You were gonna see it, and definitely, what is it turning out to be, G? What
A
is it
total
turning out
bridge.
to be?
A total bridge. But Mod, I think everything in phase 4 so far has been a bridge, but this is definitely a bridge show. Ain't no ifs, ands, buts about it.
Yeah, definitely, man. So when you think about it, you're seeing a lot of, and when we say bridge, we're seeing connectivity to everything in the Marvel universe. So it's kind of touching a whole bunch of different spots all at the same time so that you can kind of build and walk across those things. So we're going to jump into that first before we get into Ando. We're going to definitely jump into the She-Hulk episode. So She-Hulk episode started out, we had a client that was reacting an event, talking to, Jim Walters about what was going on. He had a super suit that was built by the super suit guy. Of course, he's been, our Edna. This is our Edna in this universe, and basically, he had been built a super suit, and he wanted to sue the maker of his super suit because it caught on fire. It was a ridiculous event anyway. He looked ridiculous in his Frogger suit, and definitely in his little Frogger suit, he got turned on fire in his Frogger suit. So after he, was explaining the event to Jen realized who it was that he wanted to sue, and then after that, Jen was like, "Yo, I don't want to mess up my arrangement that I have with my guy," so she went to him and was trying to work something out. And while she was trying to work something out, of course, what she feared happened. And definitely he was like, no soup for you. If you've seen Seinfeld, that's basically a Seinfeld rap. He's like, no soup for you. In other words, I'm not making no more suits for you. And then after, this whole scenario happens, he gets a lawyer, he comes to court. Sure enough, the lawyer that we get an opportunity to see is none other than our guy, Matt Murdock. So, we get an opportunity to see Matt Murdock here, and here's our guy Frogger. Definitely looks like
but his name his name ain't Frogger. He's the Frog Man, man.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Listen, he's a knockoff. He's my version of the Make-A-Wish Captain America that we got in the last series. So,
Dang.
definitely, G, you'll have your opportunity to correct the names in a minute. You know me. I'm going to give him a just an outlandish name. Yeah. So everything goes on in the court. Matt, using his super senses that he had, smells the fact that this guy was using jet fuel instead of regular fuel. And, that was it. That was it in the court. She lost the case. So Jen goes to a bar, and guess who's sitting at the bar waiting on her, talking to her? It's Matt Murdock. Well, Matt, in classic Matt form, gets a mysterious call, has to go. Jen goes back to the house. Long day, getting ready to, definitely lay it down. But she remembers something that Matt said to her. Matt said, you can fight law by day and then, fight crime by night. So you can definitely be a part of changing the system rather than being a part of the system staying the same. So she goes out. She gets a call from a client. Goes out. Definitely defends. Go to defend her client, and they end up having this confrontation right here, where you have the classic She-Hulk Daredevil fight, and she's in her Chuck Taylors. He's in his suit, and that suit that was made by our Edna. And you're gonna get his real name. G's gonna help you with that here in just a second. Definitely, I have to mention this. In court, one of the things that was brought up was the Sokovia Accords. The Sokovia Accords, you'll remember from what movie was that, Sean? From the Sokovia Accords, Civil War, right?
Yeah, that was the first mention of the Sokovia Accords, but it's been throughout.
Civil War was the first time we got the Sokovia Accords, and they mentioned that it's been repealed. So it's been they've taken that, it was in law, so now it's not a law anymore. They've been repealed, and that's a great thing. Well, after Jen and Daredevil get into it, and our guy Mr. Leapfrog gets back to the lily pad.
He killing that boy name.
Yeah, listen, he gets back to the lily pad. At this point, Daredevil explains, she unmasks Matt Murdock and finds out that he's Daredevil, finds out his whole skill set. They come up with a plan. They go in, they save our Edna. After they save our Edna, then definitely they get kind of happy, and things get kind of heated between Matt and Jen. Well, Jen is she's all for it. Jen likes to get it in. So, definitely they end up, having an episode, and there, she breaks the third wall, and she's like, yeah, this should have been over. Why is this episode not over? And then she goes to the gala on which her dress was being made for her. She gets to the gala. Once she gets to the gala, she's getting up to get her award. Once she takes her award, here we got these guys. The guy that she slept with undoubtedly is the guy that put this stuff up, because that's where the film came from. So, definitely she hulks out at this point. She loses control. She punches the screen walls. Everybody goes out, and she catches one of the guys. She finds one of the guys, catches one of the guys, but then she realized that everyone is watching her at this point, and they have guns on her. Episode ends. G, talk to me about this episode, man, because the first thing I really want to take and unravel is the Leapfrog. Let's talk about Leapfrog. Let's talk about this guy.
Okay, so this is a rendition of, it's a mix between two characters in the Marvel comics. Leapfrog's actual dad's name was Frogman, right? And Frogman is the father. His name is Eugene Papatino, right? Well, in the comics, everybody knows that Eugene Papatino actually is a guy that was a low-line criminal that worked in the background for the network for Kingpin, right? So that's why they made the references and the points about this kid being a spoiled brat, because his father is not, he's not a mob boss, but he's an underground syndicate runner for Kingpin in the comics. So now, because a lot of folks don't realize and know that this guy was one of them early Daredevil villains. So now you're seeing him pop up in the thing, and they made the reference points about the comics about who he was. So I don't know if it's Leapfrog, Frogman. It might be a mix between the two, but they definitely told the story of the younger guy versus the older guy, if that makes any type of sense at all. But he's one of the most beloved, and I never really got into it, but he is one of the most beloved characters in Marvel comic book history. If you go out and look at some of the money that the comic books with Frogman and Leapfrog in it, and some of the characters and some of the dolls and Funko Pops and all whatever else, this thing sells like wildfire. And there are just people that flat out just love him. So it was homage to the comics, in a way to sort of tie everything together with a bow, because there was also even an adventure in the comics where She-Hulk and Daredevil fought Leapfrog. So it's a lot going on right there, man.
Definitely. So Elijah, seeing this and catching on to what was going on, did you get an opportunity? Well, first of all, let me ask you, did you get an opportunity to watch the HBO series with what is that? What was the name?
Well, Harley Quinn?
No. HBO series with your guy John Cena.
You're talking about Peacemaker.
So
yeah.
did Frogger or Leapfrog, did he give you Peacemaker's best friend kind of vibes? Or the I mean, yes, he gave those kind of vibes. How did you feel about seeing this guy Leapfrog in this episode? Did you catch on, or was it something that you just thought was kind of foreign? They just kind of put in there.
Actually, the first time I saw the suit, it was kind of a little bit tacky for me. I was like, oh yeah, it's a frog. I was like, that's new. I didn't even understand what was going on until they explained it was talking about a suit, and then the court stuff was happening afterwards, and I was like, oh, okay, that's what they were leading into. But outside of that, yeah, it was did give some of those vibes of the Peacemaker's best friend, for sure. Since you brought it up, it was, yeah, definitely.
I just don't think it was as funny though. I don't think it is that funny.
No, not even close. No.
Yeah, it definitely gave me those vibes. So,
can I ask y'all a question? Both of y'all a question. Was the leap pad almost a throwback to like the old school Batman 60s cartoon show,
bro,
with like the henchman?
It was bad.
It was straight up. It was straight up Batmanish, man.
Yeah,
it was
like just meet me at the lily pad. It's like everybody knows where the lily pad is, right?
Everybody knows. God. How is it a secret lair if everybody knows where it's at? I don't.
It's like in bright neon lights. Just drive in. It says the lily pad on it. It's like, what?
Man, in the old school 60s Batman, man, that was exactly how they ran down, man. Like,
it makes no sense. But I will say, we'll talk about those fight scenes here in a minute. Yeah. So when you saw in the beginning, when you saw Jen go in and he was waiting on the lawyer, did you at that moment, G, know that we were going to get Charlie Cox? Did you know that we were about to get Matt Murdock as his lawyer?
He kept making references because, the Taylor is looking across the room at her, and it's like, oh, he doesn't have representation. He doesn't have A, B, C, and D. So what other lawyer could they bring into a She-Hulk series that would be on par with Jen Walters outside of Matt Murdock? And we had already got the reference point about the helmet once before. So, there was already a connection between, and by the way, the guy's name is Luke Jacobson. So there was already a connection between Luke Jacobson and Matt Murdock because we saw the helmet. So I'm like, yeah, they're setting this up. But what was balls is when he busts in the courtroom, they played the old Netflix music from the Netflix show of the Daredevil. So it was like, I don't know what Kevin Feige's doing. We're messing with all this Marvel stuff with Netflix and X-Men 97, but that's sort of his way of announcing I'm bridging old to new because I'm trying to fix everything. So I liked it.
I think he's definitely doing a good job fixing everything and mending everything. And then when we see her get to the bar with Matt, I knew automatically what was going to happen, and it happened later, but I knew what was going to happen, the chemistry that they had, and because both of them are socially awkward. Both of them are always socially awkward, and socially awkward people usually gravitate to socially awkward people, right?
Yeah.
So at this scene right here, Elijah, let me ask you, when he got the phone call, did you know it was at this moment that he was getting ready to go beat Leapfrog? Because Daredevil beats people up. He don't just he whoop people. He beat people up. You know what I'm saying? So did you know when he got that phone call that's what was about to happen?
Oh yeah, it's like I already knew he was heroing up, and then It was She-Hulk got the call like literally right after, and then they both got into the altercation with each other, and then and then she found out who she was and everything. I was like, oh wow, yeah. And the whole echolocation thing.
Yeah.
He's like, do you have echolocation? He was like,
Yeah.
yeah, kind of, I guess.
Yeah.
Definitely. Gee, what you think about the homage paid to the old Daredevil? Because they paid it off in the court scene. But how did you feel about it when you saw it in the hallway fighting scenes when they were getting it in the hall?
As far as giving the deal to Netflix and paying homage to Netflix, oh yeah, but they did a better job with their production to me, man, because. I mean, I don't know if his cane or stick did like how it did in Netflix, but that was boss. When that Joker went on that chain extension and cracked that dude,
yeah,
and then like it was like you said, it wasn't just your normal average fight. This was a beatdown. He's going in the room and using his superpowers to literally destroy everybody that's in the room. And right. You know, I guess the secret for the audience is that we realize and know that this dude is blind. And he's thoroughly beating them down. It's not even close, right? You know, and he's thoroughly punishing them boys. And we're like, man, this dude is blind. How in the world? But that's his superpower because we all know that he can not. It's just not the sound that bounce off the wall like how Echo's powers is. It's actually his ability to turn sound into sight. He can when he uses his ears work like his eyes. So it's not just bouncing off of it.
But it's over enhanced, though. It's over enhanced, because he nearly has the Spider-Man premonition, how Spider-Man kind of sees things before they happen, right?
Yes.
So he can react to them before they even happen. So it's not just the sight. His ears becoming his sight.
Right.
He literally has that quick trigger in his reactions.
Yeah, and I like the whole Daredevil from Netflix thing too, because they didn't like bulk him up or make him just super buff, not like Chris Evans, and you know they made it seem like this dude is sort of like humanish, and he can get beat down, but if it's a normal one-on-one, somebody he ain't losing, he ain't walking out with the L down, you know,
he's not taking the L down. So the walk of shame after he leaves Jennifer Walters' house. How did you feel about the walk of shame, man?
You know, I promise you, man, I honest to God believe that's the whole reason why they made his suit the way they made it, to give it the throwback. Because there's no way in God's green earth I could have seen him walking across that lawn in that all red DD outfit across the lawn in the walk of shame. There's just no way. Man, do you know how much blowback that would have got on the internet for all the old youngsters out there? You know, we're making references that we usually don't talk about on Marvelous Talk. But that in an all-red devil outfit, he's walking with no shoes on. Oh, no, it wouldn't have went over well. So I really do believe that was the whole throwback to this outfit because they knew that scene was going to be in there. But when I'm telling you, I laughed hard. I said, bro, I feel your pain. I feel your pain.
The walk of shame got me, man. The walk of shame got me. I literally at that point just hollered. I hollered. I couldn't take it anymore. I was like, no, this is ridiculous. And then when her friend comes out with the makeup brushes like she's Wolverine, that was a cute little reference right there as well. And then, you know, the gala, the dress and everything. We know what happened there. G, do you think the leaders behind this, man? Do you honestly think the leaders behind this intelligentsia whole thing?
Without a shadow of a doubt. But bro, did you see? So when the guy showed up and he said he was King Hulk and all whatever else, right? He had a mask on that sort of looked like somebody we know. It sort of reminisced a Doomish mask, you know. So I couldn't tell, but Doom is part of the intelligentsia. So this guy, this the part I just don't understand. What good, and I know this is going to be the whole turn in the plot twist for the show. What good does it do for his character or the intelligentsia to slut shame her? It doesn't do anything. Are they trying? They trying to push her over the edge to make it seem like she's dangerous, or was it?
I think that's what they wanted to do.
Right, because that's not going to work because everybody already knows she's a freaking Hulk. That's what they do.
Right.
Right.
But it seems that it has worked because they got guns on her. They have guns on her, bro. Like, I mean, they honestly have guns on her. Like they're really ready to take her in. Right.
Yeah.
And the thing that didn't make sense to me though, and I think I'm interested to know if Max caught this reference too, is when they said that she stole powers from the Hulk. No, she didn't.
Right.
She didn't steal the Hulk's powers.
Right, but see, that's the spin. That's what the intelligentsia does. They spinning. We live in a world today because they were making reference points to what's going on right now in the world, right? We live in a world today where stories and subplots and plots, nobody takes the time and the energy and effort to vent information before they put it out there. It's who can get to the finish line first to drop the hot story to become famous, right? So they played on that real world scenario in the show. This guy is trying to destroy her based on propaganda than to actually coming at her to destroy her, because the Sokovia Accords no longer exist, right? So people are free to be heroes and all this other stuff. So shaming her is how you gonna get her to control. But I think she really told the whole story when she said the episode should have ended by now. And what are we going to get? A Red Hulk, And I was like, yeah, she's telling what's going to get ready to happen. I think that's what all this is about. They're trying to create. They don't want another Hulk. They want a Hulk that they can control. And it's almost like you planting a mole inside of a powerful group. And how we gonna plant it is I'm gonna just shame this one. And you go to the mole could be because we haven't seen this scene yet. We haven't seen Blonsky running through high-fiving people with his t-shirt torn off yet. So is this way of shaming She-Hulk? So then that way we can say, well, we got this guy Blonsky who we can control. And we're going to bring him to the forefront. And She-Hulk, you're not really an Avenger or hero type. I think that's what we're going with this whole thing.
We could possibly get there, G. This could possibly happen. Switching gears, man. Andor. Definitely when we're thinking about Andor at this point, what did you think when you saw the episode this week? So I want to walk through it. But it's just them prepping. I'm just going to go ahead and get a whole scenario. Them prepping for this mission.
Mm-hmm.
But in them prepping for the mission, they're definitely calling Andor's loyalty into question. And the question of they're trying to find out who he submitted to, who he's rolling with, all of those things. And it's really one of these things, man, that I'm sitting and I'm asking myself, what's happening until the very end. You see him kind of take leadership of the whole group. So how did you feel about Andor this week, man? Give me your high point. But before we do that, I didn't ask this, so we got to ask. We always ask. What's your grade on She-Hulk this week? What do you give it?
This was the best episode of the series, by far. And the whole reason is because Daredevil. I mean, they did. It was a soft reboot, and I think they did a really good job. To bring him in. We know he gets his own series on Disney Plus. We know that's coming. We know it's going to be an integral part in the Earth-based superheroes moving forward. And he even mentioned Hell's Kitchen. So we know we got Echo, something with Kingpin, soft reboot, Hell's Kitchen, Earth-based.
Oh, we got characters. We got characters for the Daredevil. We got them. But what do you give it?
I give it an 8.7, 8.8.
8.7, okay.
8.7, 8.8.
Elijah, this episode 1 through 10, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best, what do you give this episode?
I would have to give it I would say definitely an 8.5 for sure.
Yeah, I would agree with you guys, man. 8.5, solid, real solid episode. I like the chemistry between Jen and Daredevil for sure. I hope that's not the last that we see of that. You know, I hopefully we'll see some more of that. So switching gears to Andor. G, tell me, how did you feel when you were watching all of this stuff going on? And what was the highlight point for you in Andor?
Well, to be honest, man, I think they took a step back. Really, to be honest, I think it drug. You know, so we had those first 3 episodes, right? And it when you got in the middle of the 2, it's 2.5 going into 3, it drug. It picked up a little bit at the pace at the end of 3. Episode 4, they did an outstanding job. I was very pleased with it. So I'm like, okay, they got to go forward because they only got 7 shows. But for whatever reason, it hit a lull again. It started dragging, you know, because I was about halfway in the episode and I was more or less like, man, how many reference points are they going to make to the birth of the rebellion, right? They're setting up all these characters and they're bringing all these characters into this plot line or the storyline, but it's to build the base of the rebellion. And I'm like, you can only tell that story for so long. I without making reference points to huge key characters, right?
Well,
I don't want to know.
Think about this. Being an advocate, you have to think about this. This is the birth of the rebellion. This is the birth of the rebellion. So they kind of have to mention the empire, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I get that, but this is the problem I have with it. I know we don't want to see any more stories about Luke and Leia, and I know that, but you have to make reference points or tie some of those. It's like, okay, I hate to give a sports analogy on a Marvelous Talk Pod show, but this will make all the sense in the world, right? Unless I'm an all-pro offensive lineman, nobody cares who number 74 is that plays for the Indianapolis Colts, right? You see what I'm saying? The only time you care is when he has a holding penalty, right? So they're making reference points to the number 74, and they're not talking about the quarterback. You see what I'm saying?
Okay,
you can only go so long with that storyline.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying because there are some characters that are undeveloped right now.
Right,
like
right.
The guy who got fired, he's definitely an undeveloped character.
Correct.
You know,
correct.
You know, the senator's undeveloped right now. Right. Even the guy who actually saved Andor, he's undeveloped. But
right.
I do believe that this is a pivotal account of where his leadership starts to come into effect. Because Andor was a big leader, and they showed us that in Rogue One. He was a big leader for the rebellion as it started. They listened to Andor. He was big in it. So how did he get that big? And I think they're trying to tell that story. What do you think, Elijah? What do you think about this episode of Andor?
For the most part, as I watched the first 3 episodes, it really enticed me. It started off very dark and very dreary, a big diversion from all the other stuff that I've seen from the Star Wars universe for the past few years. It actually reminded me of the beginning sequences of Force Awakens when Finn had to see death of his fellow stormtroopers and stuff like that. That sort of dark that I get to see, and then it kind of diverged on its next few episodes. And again, how Big G was talking about bringing up the rebellion again is like, okay, I knew that this was going to happen, but it's also a drag. So that's it. Yeah, it's basically recycle points.
Yeah, I don't, but don't get me wrong, I don't dislike it, right? Because it's almost like how we made the reference in the Marvel, right? How we made the reference in the Marvel, and we're talking about She-Hulk's a bridge. I think this show is not just a bridge to Rogue One. but I think it's a bridge to where we're going as far as the Star Wars universe is concerned, right? I think we'll be more appreciative of Andor a year or two from now, because we'll be like, oh, remember they made that reference point and that reference point, about how the whole rebellion process started. I think that's going to be a big bridge. But like I said, I just think it took a little step back. My favorite scene, really, to be honest, though, and people might not like it, but I liked it. I like when they broke down the whole thing about the tattoos. That was off the hook, man, because they was telling the story. We know he lied about what he did, but he knew what stuff was. And what that's actually doing is planting seeds of mistrust, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what I think the whole episode 5 was about. Episode 5 was about mistrust. If you're going to build a rebellion, not only do you got to get a pecking order about who's what and where, who's the commander, who's the top dog, who's the alpha male, who's the alpha female, but there's a lot of mistrust stuff that goes on in that. And I think that's what all this was about. I think if I had to give a theme about episode 5, it was a mistrust.
Absolutely.
Who do you trust? I didn't.
Absolutely. And I think that's what they had to do, G. They had to do it. They had to set this whole thing. And that's why I said they had to believe in Andor, and they had to believe that Andor was there for the right reasons. Yeah, and I think that's what they did. I think that's exactly what they did.
When dude tried to steal his kyber crystal, and he put that thing up to his neck, and he tried to take his kyber crystal, I was like, yeah, bro, but he's supposed to be part of the squad. You don't take nobody off the squad. That'd be like us teaming up, and then I'll be like, Mon, knock
he
you like
that. He said what it was, though, G. He said exactly what it was. Andor told him what it was. He said, hey, man, you scared. Don't try to use me to get you out of this whole thing. Don't try to, if you're not ready to do this, then don't do it. But don't try to use me to get out of it. You know what I'm saying? And Andor was like, man, shoot, I'm scared. Yeah. But at the same time, I mean, I want my bread. I'm going to go do it because I want my bread, Yeah. And basically, I think that was, you summed it up correctly. It was mistrust. It was definitely an episode that was on there. And hopefully we can move past this whole thing and get to some more development in the story. Because I agree, at this point it needs to be some. Because I mean, even with I forget his name, Max would be so ashamed of me at this point. Even with the guy who brought Andor into the loop, he didn't trust. He was like, man, I need to hear some word.
But he's a double agent though, bro. I got a theory too about that dude. You know what I think he is? And I'm being straight up. And Max will probably be like, nah, I don't see it. I think he's a Jedi in hiding. Really? I think he's hiding in plain sight. I'm telling you straight up, because he had so many. Now think about his crib, right? He had all them relics and all. Dog, you don't get that. I don't care. He had all kind of stuff that you would never have nowhere ever, right? And so, including a freaking kyber crystal. So,
which he said that was very valuable to him.
Correct. And you
could be right,
he ain't walking around with the lightsabers. You know what I'm saying? Because that's an identifier. But he might be so powerful that he's playing the Jedi mind trick on you. And that's why he's got to put the other clothes on with the ring and all. I'm acting like I'm really this guy, but really on this, I'm really a Jedi and I'm hiding in plain sight. I'm telling you, I think that's what he is, man.
It's perfectly possible.
Yeah,
perfect.
Yeah. I've been watching this because he even does that little mess. He talks. Okay, I'm gonna make a biblical reference, right? The biblical reference is that even when the disciples left away from Christ, their speech betrayed them, right? They tried to go back to what it was. And he walks both sides. And when he goes to that other side, which we actually thinking he's dark, he looks like a wounded Jedi. He walks, talks, acts, thinks like a wounded Jedi.
I mean, now that I think about it, some of the things that he was saying to Andor was Jedi-ish. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And the fact that he had a kyber crystal, yeah, man, I'm gonna tell you the truth. I might get on that bandwagon, G. I definitely might get on that. Hey, Max, if you're listening, I think he might be a Jedi, man. He might be a Jedi hiding in plain sight. Yeah. Switching gears, bro. We had another development come out this week, and we have another one. Just Werewolf by Night will be out tomorrow, probably tonight, really late. That's if we stick to how Marvel does things, at probably 2:00 tonight, you'll see Werewolf by Night. But that's fine. That's all fine, Daddy. But this week we had something epic drop. Oh my gosh! Listen, I just want y'all to know, I'm already laying away, my gear for the Wakanda session that I'm going to. There's at least going to be about 5 or 6 of those sessions that I attend. I got to go to Chadwick's, wake in Wakanda. I got to go to his wake and definitely see my guy. Man, Wakanda Forever. Black Panther 2 dropped a new trailer, and I'm going to tell you, bro. Well, let me get your opinion. Elijah, did this trailer make you want to see more? I mean, make you want to see the movie more? Or did you like, it was average? What'd you think?
Oh, this made me want to see this movie more. Like seeing the new Black Panther suit on Shuri.
Is it Shuri? But keep going. Keep going.
It has to be. It has to be.
Okay.
It has to be. Seeing more of Ironheart, Riri Williams was a really good treat. Seeing the wings on Namor's feet and seeing how he flies through the air was absolute marvel. Just overall the entirety of the trailer was just really good.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, there was those two things that you mentioned were the things that just really, man, I just wanted to run through my TV, seeing Namor move and fly, just like, yo, Namor is one of the first ones that I gravitated to, other than Iceman, Namor, Wolverine, Spider-Man, Cut the Deck, Batman. They were all around the same time I got into superheroes. Those were my heroes. Those were the ones that I was like, yeah, man. Because I wasn't really so high on Aquaman because he couldn't fly. I wanted to see my heroes fly. Superman flew, so everybody else could fly. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it was what it was. And Batman just made me see that an average dude could be a superhero. So I was like, yeah, I'm with it. You know what I'm saying? But getting back to this trailer, there was something else that I saw that is making me lose it. This right here, man. This guy, M'Baku, is going to show us some stuff that we didn't see out of M'Baku before. And G, I think it's going to make G happy because it's going to be comic book accurate. I mean, this guy's, deity. I mean, he's the avatar for an ape. And we finna see this boy ape out a couple of times in this movie. And I'm excited about that. So the trailer made me feel just like you did, Elijah. I am so hyped and ready for this movie. I got a specially made white Black Panther shirt that I'm putting on when I go to see this movie. I'm being all white. That shall happen. The first 2 times that I go, I got to give Chadwick hey, man, listen, you got to give the Panther his respect, man. The Panther failed, man. So I'm going in all white.
Hey, when that trailer dropped, my brother came up to me because we was at work. He came up to me. He was like, "Hell, the tickets are out. I'm buying 3 tickets right now. I'm buying 3 tickets right now. We got them the exact same day the trailer dropped." I was
loving it. G, how'd you feel when you saw this trailer?
This has the potential to fit in the category of the top 5 Marvel of all time. This has a potential to be a top 5.
Just the top 5?
I mean, to bust in the top 5, you got to be a dog.
Hey, I think it's gonna be the best
Endgame, Infinity War, the first Black Panther. I mean, Civil War. You got to bring the ruckus, man. To bust up in that. And you notice a common thing.
Spider-Man, No Way Home. Yeah.
Black Panther, and all of them except Spider-Man. He and all of them except Spider-Man. Right. So this has the potential to jump up in that top 5. That's saying a lot, because you got to realize the whole premise of this. This is a sequel. So you're saying that a sequel can jump into the top 5 of the all-time greatest Marvel movies. I can see if you said Infinity War Endgame. Okay, that's a sequel.
That makes sense.
Wakanda Forever to jump in the top 5? Oh, it's banging.
Gee.
But yeah.
I think it'll be the best one of all times.
I'm not going to call it that yet. I'm not
to
going to
close out 4.
I ain't gonna pump the brakes on that one, but I don't know.
I'm not going to. It's going to be top 5. Now, this is the keys to it, right?
Okay.
We know that there's been reshoots. Us insiders that know what we know. I can't tell what we know because we got peoples, right? We already know that the official runtime is 252, right? Second longest movie in Marvel history, 252. I dropped a little nugget. I'm going to spoil a little bit. There's more than 2 post-credit and mid-credit end credits.
Right.
Okay. I'm just telling y'all there's more than 2. And there's a huge one. Matter of fact, the third one might be the biggest post-credit ever in the history of Marvel movies. When that third one happens, it's going down, right?
Biggest movie ever.
Yeah, ever post-credit ever. But I'm talking about this is going to be greater than when Thanos turned in the camera and he smiled. This one is going to be bigger than that. They're setting it up for that. Because you got to remember, like Ma said, this closes out 4, moves on to 5. You got to tell a story about 5. So how is you going to do it? You got to put a blockbuster at the end, right? So there's more than 2. The post-credit scenes, the reshoots, they extended the movie, right? It's going to, I think, and I also know, I know, it's going to be told in 3 parts. The homage to Chadwick, the story about Submariner, and the introduction to Riri, and then we're going to find out who the Panther is. With a huge drop at the end. A huge drop at the end. So that's why I'm saying that the movie's got to be that long in order to tell this whole story.
So do you think Riri is going to be a main key piece of this story?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. I think it's Riri and her search for the elements for her suit, and probably working with somebody, a shadowy figure, which ends up being Doom, that causes a lot of this stuff. I think, it's probably her that's going to put Wakanda in the crosshairs, right?
Yeah.
I also believe that, Submariner, because Namor, he's an anti-hero.
Correct.
So he's not going to be bad. He's not going to be a villain this whole movie. There's somebody else that's a villain. They're plotting this out. And I think this is why I really think it's going to be this good. Because they're showing everybody, making everybody think Namor is the enemy. No. I don't think he is.
No. Namor.
I think he's the middleman that's trying to bring peace, but y'all overstep. So now I got to let him have you for a minute. And then he found out it wasn't y'all. And then, so I'm thinking at this point, that whole thing, you got to tell a story. The other thing that makes me think it's going to be the best Marvel movie ever, I keep telling you, you don't believe me, G, they casted him so long ago. They have not used him. Keanu Reeves will be introduced as Doom. I'm telling you, he's going to be introduced as Doom. He's going to be, Keanu Reeves will be introduced as Dr. Doom, and it's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Gee, would you think that would be a good casting now?
Absolutely.
No. This is the reason why. Kenny Carey, Man, listen. I mean, I'm not just a Doom guy. I'm not just a Doom boy. That's what people call it. I'm not a Doom boy, right? In order to you to rock with Dr. Doom, you got to be that guy. You got to be able to go to a place where darkness looks like the sun. You know what I'm saying? Because this dude, his character bridges magic and technology. You know, so like you got to be able to hold Thor and Doctor Strange out and then turn around and give Iron Man and them a run for the bread. And Skull Drag came. So you got to be able to do it all, right? And
rip
Keanu,
skull out.
I don't know,
you got to be able to rip Thanos'
not only that, you have to have the arrogance and the gall to pull it off.
Yeah.
But again, Keanu Reeves, I think, has the acting chops to do it. I think he has the acting chops to do it and the action chops to do it. He's young enough still to carry Doom through for about 4 or 5 years. He's young enough still to do it, right? I mean, he's still doing John Wick. You know what I'm saying? So if he's still doing John Wick and he's still out here getting hit by cars and rolling over and shooting stuff, he can do Dr. Doom. He definitely carry Doom. And because of his character in the Matrix, playing Neo, I mean, honestly, I really believe he can handle this character. And get this, G, like I've said, I keep saying it. Who else you gonna put him with? Who else? What other character that we have not introduced?
You can run with Jonathan Majors? You talking about what guy can run with Jonathan Majors?
No, I'm saying who else will we use? Who else would Marvel spin Keanu on as a character?
There's really nobody. I mean,
nobody else.
Yeah, there's nobody out there with the acting chops, the credibility, and all whatever else that we know that can carry because remember, Doom always thinks he's right. So there's really, I mean, they tied the guy to a contract a long time ago. Like Mod said, we haven't heard it. It could go down. It could. I just need Kevin Feige. You got to set this dude up right. Doom can't be no scrub. Doom is gonna get you past phase 6 and 7. Doom's got to be that guy. So you got to make Victor Von Doom like nothing nothing like that old garbage Fantastic Four stuff that we got from the Fox universe. Doom's got to be the baller.
Oh, Four Stick.
Yeah. It was horrible. It was horrible. But I would be happy if it's Keanu Reeves. Let's just say that. But point I want to make, I'm just switching it up a little bit about Riri. This is a redemption story about Riri Williams. Riri Williams follows the same story arc as Tony Stark, right? So she's got a fall on her face in front of you to build herself back up to build the suit. That's Tony Stark. So you're basically building a new Iron Man. And I really do believe that's why Feige and them made the decision, because we got the official announcement that Iron Wars is not a Disney Plus series.
It's a movie.
Iron Wars is a movie. So I know that they're building Riri up because the plot, this is going to give you Riri's whole story. And the plot because she's going to get an Ironheart show, right? So look at her in the suit, just like Stark, man. So she's going to get an Ironheart show. So the Ironheart show is not going to tell you her story. Her birth is this. So they got to run that story arc from Tony Stark parallel to Riri. So that's the huge part. Riri's got to be redeemed. So I know that's part of it.
All right, you guys. So the last question, and I'm going to use this as our parting shots. And I just want you to answer over, under. Are we going to get Michael B. Jordan in this movie? And I'll start with you, Elijah. Over being that we will, under not so much.
As far as Killmonger?
As far as Killmonger, will we get a Michael B. Jordan in this movie?
I'm gonna go over. I'm gonna go over on this one.
You believe it.
The ancestral plane. I'm keying in on the ancestral plane.
Yeah, because he was a Panther and he was a king. So he should be at the ancestral plane. G, over under. We get a Michael B. Jordan spotting in this movie.
It's over 100%. It's over. Because why else are we going to the Golden City? Do you get up on your comic book knowledge? Understand why we going to the Golden City. Why the new Black Panther got gold all on their uniform? Oh, because it ain't just about boss. It's about sick neck.
Yeah.
So sick neck, you know what sick neck is? For those that don't know comic books?
Go ahead.
She's the redeemer of the fallen kings and queens in the lineage of the Panther. She goes to the plane and redeems them, brings them to her family because they one tribe. So why are we going to the Golden City? Because we're gonna meet Sicknick. And Sicknick gonna bring Michael B to the crib.
Over under in this movie, we get a pregnancy and T'Challa has a child. Over under, Big G.
100% over. 100. They gonna announce the baby. They either gonna show the baby on screen, she's swole up, or he might be like 3. They're gonna be like, I got a secret to tell you. Let me show you this little guy right here. And she's gonna be looking like, oh God, it's the new king. So yeah, T'Challa. Last thing I'm gonna say, because you got to introduce Storm. Storm and Panther got to happen. Now it might not be T'Challa and Aurora Monroe, but it could be the heir of T'Challa and Aurora Monroe. So you got to have a new king, male king, that's gonna hook up with Storm.
Over under, Elijah. We gonna have a baby in this whole thing.
Yeah, definitely over for sure. And to G's point, would that mean we're getting a younger version of Storm for the X-Men? Because in every incarnation of X-Men that I have seen so far, she has always been seen as an older mentor kind of character towards the younger X-Men. So this would be the first time that we've seen Storm as a younger student with Professor Xavier, and how she gets thing after that.
Elijah, comic book accurate, and tell me if I'm wrong, Sean. Comic book accurate. T'Challa met Aurora when she was 12. He kind of saved her.
Yes, that's correct.
So if he met her when he was 12, it's easy, and they were friends. They were best friends, ran parallel for a long time, and then they hooked up later. It's kind of easy for us to see that happens. But last question, last over under. Here it is. Are we going to, if when we go to M'Baku's land, will they be a mention of the Savage Land over and under? Do you think we're going to get a mention of the Savage Land in this movie, G? Over, under?
I give it an under. I think that they won't play. I think they'll introduce the concept of M'Baku on the mountain as a gateway to somewhere else. Because Wakanda's getting flooded, y'all. Where they gonna get the vibranium from? So it's got to be somewhere else. I would actually say over under. Do we get a mention of adamantium? But you know, I think it's under at this point, because if they put that in, it would seal the deal. If all of those things happen, like we're saying, over and up, this movie would be the all-time greatest movie, not just in Marvel, but movie history. If all the things we're saying is going to happen, and they show that stuff in that movie, oh man, people are going to freaking lose it. They're going to lose it, man. So, you know, I would say under, because it would just be too much. I'd be in there passing out like, oh God. Like every time they have a good scene, I'd be like, oh my God. My wife would have to throw water on me and bring me back. I'd be like, what happened? What happened? Oh, they said adamantium. Oh my God. I just keep passing out. Pete, keep passing out.
Elijah, over under. We get a mention of the Savage Land.
I would probably say under because the Savage Land is the land that Magneto created. Am I correct?
It's Kazar. No. It's where Kazar come from.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Mr. Sinister ran through the Savage Land and Nasty Boys and all, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Zordon, you know.
Yeah. It's more of like, you know, the meeting place or the beginning place of a lot of mutants. So it's Savage Land. It's, you know, the vibranium or antimantium was supposed to be there. You know what I'm saying?
So, it was there.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, you know, I'm kind of thinking, and I'm going to be the only one. I'm going to be the only one that goes over here.
Really?
And I'm going to go over because I believe that to make a mention to allude to it, you don't have to show it. You can make mention to it. And I think in Dead Speak that they may allude to it. I think in Dead Speak they're going to allude to it. They've already changed the containers in which we're flying over.
Yeah.
The because at first they were like helicopters.
Yeah, they did. Now they're like carrying something. Yeah,
it's carrying something. So, you know, they've already changed that. Why did y'all change it? What's going on here? You know, what? So, yeah, it's some things that, you know, I'm seeing and I'm kind of putting them together and make 1 and 1 equal 2. But we thank you guys for rocking with us, man, being here with us during this marvelous talk moments. Definitely, we ask that you just, you know, like, subscribe, share with anybody. Like us on Facebook, share and subscribe on YouTube. Definitely, we are here weekly for you and yours. All of your Star Wars and/or marvelous talk. We get into it. For myself, for Big Max, for Big G, and for our newest member here, Elijah, we thank you for rocking with us, man. We out of here. Peace.